Uh-oh.
All right, we're back for another episode of the Idiot Circle. I'm Mike.
I'm Fred.
And I'm Tim. I'm filling in for Rob tonight. We miss him, but
Well, not really.
not really.
Depends on how well you do, Tim. We might miss
Well,
him.
he's
we might
probably,
not.
it's probably in homage to him. I brought this up just in memory of him, except I kept it empty because if I had what he was drinking, I'd be
never make it.
I'd never make it.
that's
Craig, I'd
a
have to
smart
get my
move.
hip replaced.
Hey, this is I'm going to say for the record, this is the first time Fred has not gone overboard with alcohol. Nice job, Fred.
Nice
You recognize your restraint right away. I like that.
Yeah.
So Fred, why don't you introduce? Oh shit, I stand corrected. I stand corrected.
I might not even drink them. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I doubt it. Why don't you introduce our special guest, Fred?
Yeah. Before I do that, guys, hey, let's remember. Thumbs up, thumbs down for the show on YouTube channel. Also on the Idiot Circle on Facebook. Give us your topics. Give us some messages. Whatever. We'll throw those topics into the show. Subscribe to the show so you get notifications when we're on again. So, without further ado, my partners in crime in the booth at Marine City High School, we have Craig Zimmerman and Jesse LaBuhn, the play-by-play and color announcers for CTV for the East China School District and Marine City football. Boys, go Black. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. Doing real well. Thank you.
Awesome.
You guys bleed orange and black. I know that. I love the shirts. You got the game going on in the background. Love it, man.
I love it.
And
awesome,
two of the most iconic names in Marine City history, too. Zimmermans and LaBuhns. I mean, come on.
And Ward.
We have royalty here on the show. So thanks for joining us, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yes.
Great stuff.
So, guys, hey, one of the first questions I really kind of want to ask, and I want you guys to answer individually, is tell us a little, give a little background on you and what you've been doing as far as career-wise, and then how you got into this, into doing the announcing and the play-by-play and the color for Marine City football.
Who's going first? You? Okay. I got started in 1999. I got a call from Coach Bob on a Sunday afternoon. It's funny how you can't remember what you had for lunch yesterday, but I can remember the moment that he called. And I said to my wife, he goes, Coach Bob, he wants me to do the football games on Channel 6. She says, what'd you tell him? I don't know. I told him I'd get back to him. So like
that was a lie right there. You don't tell that man no.
I said yes, and obviously it's been I always say it's a pleasure to do the games because of the product that's on the field, and it's pretty easy when you win 85% of your games. It's a great program to be part of, and it just continues on. So I've been doing that since '99. Jerry Bissett and I did it for, what did we figure? Jesse and I have been doing it for 4 years. So Jerry and I did it for 19 years. We're going on our 4th. Wow. So,
man, it's crazy how fast that goes by.
Oh yeah. I mean, and it's like when you run into kids, and I say kids that played in the first years that I did it, and you run into them, you go, because it all molds together now about how old these guys are. I could pick a 5-year period and be pretty effective, but you go, okay, were you the quarterback before or after Scott Uplager? Or were you before? It's like that.
So, sometimes it can be like the Kevin Bacon game almost.
Yeah. So I was in office equipment copier sales for 33 years. I sold my own company 4 years ago, retired, and I'm basically loafing around, taking care of my cars, boat, whatever I feel like doing.
Very nice.
Friends. Well, you earned it, big guy. That's for sure.
Did.
I got my man cave, and this is sort of where I get away from everything and hang out here.
Nice.
Your Fred's jealous now. He wants a man
don't
cave
even get me going.
so bad. He's
nice.
I got 9 holes on 6 greens, only because I said I do not want to cut grass. So.
Wow.
Not over any time.
Love it.
You don't have to ask me twice.
Yeah. Be careful what your irritation.
Jesus, he's waiting at the door again. God damn, this guy.
You'll never get rid of him. Yeah. Unless you run out of beer, then he'll leave.
Yeah. Does the door have Does the door have a peek holes in? You
No,
can peek
no.
out there and see if he's coming.
Yeah, I can pretty well see. I got ring.
There
Don't
you
worry.
go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So when Jerry decided to retire from doing Channel 6 games with me, it was a pretty clear-cut thing. I wanted to choose my own, the successor to it because I wanted to feel comfortable with somebody. So Jesse was close enough to it, dealt with his father for years, so it was a pretty natural progression, and away we go.
Yeah.
So how about you, Jess?
A little bit about me. I've always been from Marine City. I didn't move to Marine City until eighth grade. So my mom and dad married out of high school, both Marine City graduates. Grew up through the 8th grade in Mount Clemens, and then moved up here. Just great timing. I know that my mom and dad always wanted to get us back to Marine City, even though they were divorced. So it really worked out well. So came up here and started in the football program, and in the 8th grade. Went through the high school program, graduated, did some college. Was fortunate enough to get a job at Detroit Edison. Working locally here, so very blessed to have that. And it's on to as far as the announcing. It seems like longer than that, but only 4 years. But when Craig called me and he said, "Hey," I'm like, "Yeah, no, this isn't for me. No thanks, I'm good." But he persuaded me, and after the first couple of games, you just kind of get relaxed, and then it ends up just being like basically a discussion of watching a football game. So it's really nice.
Yep. Well, not to mention the fact that I had the pleasure of coaching Jesse in baseball with my dad at Marine City as well.
Yeah, Timmy was one of my football coaches there too, so we could tell some stories.
Yes, we could.
Oh boy.
Coach Bob, some great Coach Bob stories, Jess, no question.
Oh yeah.
And a couple
Go
of
over there and fix him.
Oh, hey,
Oh,
trust
yeah.
me. It was nice, throwing like JD Hill and then bringing in Jesse with the kind of the swacky motion, but with a curveball that broke about this much. They didn't know what the hell to do with them. So it was kind of nice to have that mixture.
Let's see
What
the
year was that, Jess?
I like to
What
see the
year?
video too. I got plug us in here.
What year,
that, Timmy?
Jess? What year? What year were you a senior?
95.
Yep.
95. That's right. That was my first season coaching. I came from St. Clair, believe it or not. That was
Yep.
good.
Yeah. Jesse was a senior the year that my mom passed away, and you know what, that year was great because they gave us a good present by beating Marysville in the district.
Oh yeah. Was that muddy field game, Jess? Was that the game?
The only reason why we lost in the finals was because Wes Kammer, because the bases were so wet, he didn't slide. I should have told him to slide. It was my fault. But he went up standing up and he slipped right off the bag and they tagged him. He would have been the go-ahead run. That was on me. And but that was a rough time for my dad and I, obviously. But you know what? You guys gave us a gift that kept on giving by beating Marysville, because there was nobody better to beat than Marysville.
Yeah, we tried
or better known as them.
or the enemy to the north.
Right,
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
I will give them credit for one thing. When my mom, Coach Hauk and the captains came to the funeral home to pay their respects, and I thought that was a real class act by them.
Yeah, nice people. Coach Hulk.
Hey, Coach Hauk was he was a salt of the earth, man. He's salt of the earth.
Quality man.
And Fred hates Marysville so much he lives there. So what does that tell you?
Breaking
How does
news.
that work?
Breaking news. That might be changing here in the next.
Fred, what day of the week can you water your grass? Can't you only do it on odd days or even days?
Nope, unlimited, baby.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I water that shit as much as I can because it needs it. Especially when it's been like a drought up here. So.
Is this show going to affect Jesse and I's employment with CTV-6?
No, it's actually going to improve it. You might actually.
We haven't signed our non-disclosure agreements this year yet, so we should be all right.
No, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Hey, Zim.
Yeah.
Zim, when did they put the AstroTurf on the field for the first time? What year?
What you mean?
94.
Well, I know it was the year after the Marysville game that we beat them in the mud.
Yeah, we beat him in the mud because what's his name sunk the tractor out in the middle of the field. Remember that?
Like 97?
Yeah.
97.
Wasn't that the year that Marysville had Joliker as a running back and we knocked him out of the game with a knee and from there it's been smooth sailing against them, except couple hiccups
Yeah.
once in a while.
That was the turning point to getting that turf.
A couple of years ago, fortunate for us, Delore got hurt in the first half, but I think we would have had our hands full that game for sure.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
because
he's
he
a
was,
good running back.
yeah,
He's good.
yeah, he's playing over in Cornell. So, I mean, he's playing in the Ivy League. So he's a smart kid, but,
Yeah.
yeah, some great memories going to the football games and then being able to watch you guys on TV, during after the game,
Guys-
especially. I
You
wish
guys
you
do a
could,
great job.
I wish you could get it up here, but now that YouTube has, you
Right.
guys have been putting it on there, we can watch it. So that's pretty cool.
It is nice to go back. One
Yeah,
other
yeah,
thing
it was-
I forgot to add about, when I was staying in Mount Clemens, but I still come up every Friday night with my dad. Imagine that, 30,000 mile trip up 26-mile road.
Yeah.
I mean, all the way from
Yeah.
like third or fourth grade, and it always come up on Friday nights, and that's where we're at. So you talk about some memories. There's been a lot of Friday nights spent over the stadium with my dad, and
100%.
you never.
No question.
He always brought the fire extinguishers with him too, right?
Yep.
And had to fill the fire extinguisher.
Yep.
Always remember that.
Yep. Good man.
So
Good.
guys,
Listen.
I was wondering if you could give us some of your thoughts about last year, kind of recap the season, some highlights, and then the next part of that is maybe some previews of this season, what the fans can look for. But I wanted to start with last year and kind of get your thoughts. Obviously, it was a great year, but some of your highlights, some of your memorable moments from last year would be awesome.
Well, the majority of the season, Craig and I, it's easy to get pumped up for all these football games, and we go out there and just destroy these teams. And I think it was a conversation we had all year long. We need to get some competition. Yeah, we're good. Yeah, we're blowing these teams out, and it's awesome. Everybody's having fun, but we're going to run up against a team. As soon as you get into the playoffs, start going. So that was always a concern and a talk we had, and obviously they just did an excellent job preparing, keeping their heads on straight, not getting overconfident. And, picking off those first couple of playoff games. And then the game we all wanted to see us win was against Portland.
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't ask for a better game than that, to go out there and perform the way they did. I mean, you look back and he says it's really easy to do these games because of the product on the field, but it really is fun. I mean, we are very blessed by what a talented group of coaches that produce such great teams every year.
Yeah, I would say the Portland game was probably the highlight from the aspect of they excelled in just about every aspect of the game. Put the hammer down, had some really solid drives, and they, when you get in games like that in a semifinal, you might have a drive and might get stalled, but they just put it together. Put some heavy licks on guys and caused some turnovers.
Yeah, a couple of
went our
interceptions
way.
early.
Yeah. So I mean, that probably will stick with me, because when you travel like that, the weather can possibly be part of it. You're playing somewhere you've never played before. And you're also playing a team that you've played before, that has beaten you before. So even though it's not the same kids, it's still in your head, probably the coach's head. So solid game from there. You go to the finals, I really don't have any regret in the finals. I mean, gosh darn it. I don't think there's anything that you could do play-wise, scheme-wise, planning-wise to beat Grand Rapids Catholic. I mean, they have so many better players because they're a private school and they pull from a big area. It would be like us playing a school that is in Macomb County that's a private school that is pulling from Warren, Sterling Heights.
Yeah, you're like De La Salle or somebody.
Yeah,
like that.
I mean,
Or
and
Orchard Lake St. Mary's.
We've talked about that for a lot of years. I mean, if you take a look at the early mid 90s, I think it was, I think Bob would have had 1 or 2 state championships if it wasn't for running into Orchard Lake St. Mary's.
I totally agree.
How do you compete with it? You really don't.
You
I mean,
can't.
Right.
You
The
can't.
numbers
You
of
look
kids
at
they
it.
pull and the natural athletes, and then we can make up for that by just pure grit and heart and soul. And it's just the kids that come up through the program that they'll run through a brick wall for you.
There's a couple games.
Yeah, there's a couple games like not even this year, but the year prior to that, the playoff game against the Detroit team where we ended up winning in overtime, and Tiger was a freshman. Making that play.
Game right there, triple overtime. So when we were getting set up here, and not to cut you guys off, but we're sitting here. So they open it up with running the first kickoff back and going for 2 and winning it, or and getting it. So we're up 8-0 and 17 seconds off. on the clock. And I said to Craig, I said, well, I don't remember that part. I specifically remember the Tiger, right? He stayed home and stopped him on the 2-point conversion. But I go, can you imagine, you look back at all these different things that happen in a game, that what if we wouldn't, what if we just went for one there?
Yeah,
You know,
you lose by one.
Yeah. So it's a lot of things you can kind of go in reverse and think, wow, well, that really worked out. Fortunate for us.
Yeah, that was very fortunate because but the unfortunate thing is, Steve Walker and myself were standing up there doing the game from my point of view. And then we had the athletic director from the school from there running his mouth the whole time.
Oh.
And soon as we scored, or as soon as we made that stop, Steve turned around and just screamed in his face like, yeah. And I looked right at him. I'm like, yeah, basketball season starts for you guys right now. Woo! And he just scurried out of there as quick as he could, because he could not shut his mouth. And that's one of those things I just love, just shutting people up. And
No, not you,
No,
Fred.
you,
No way.
Fred, come on.
yeah,
No.
sorry.
You getting in people's face and yelling at them, that doesn't sound like you at all.
No, it's not. But it's, like I said, I think Jesse, I think maybe you have one more year than me before I was in the booth. We came in at the same time.
Yeah, I think one extra year, because I think, you took over Mr. Shields, so he was in there when I started, so maybe a year or two, maybe it was just 1 year, but yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, just remembering, my first game too was the fact that I not only had to do my first game, scared out of my mind, but I had to do the Hall of Fame. I had to, and then have to acknowledge Dave Shield and Ron Glodich. And I'm like, geez, I said, I just want to do the football game. You want me to do all those all at one time? I'm like, holy crap.
Well, they had everything written for you already. All you gotta do is read it.
Yeah, just read it, Fred. You know how to read, don't you?
Yes, I do. But I mean, when you're doing it for the first time, it's and you get it that night. It's not like you get a chance to look it over for,
Yeah, you did good, Freddie. You
Yeah.
nailed it.
But it worked out okay. So
They didn't
and
fire you.
that's true. That's true.
So
And
Fred, the first game, did you start off with the altered Fred voice the first game or what?
Yeah.
Because he listened to
Yeah, he
Fred
did.
during the game. He doesn't sound anything like he sounds right now.
I really liked
Give us-
Brady's impersonation the other day. That was classic. I said,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
here it
Oh,
comes.
Brady
Brady
Bean did that. Yeah, that
Give
was
us
pretty
one.
funny. I even got a chuckle out of that one.
Pretty bad when guys from up there will make fun of you, Fred.
Yeah,
Yeah, give us one, Fred. Come on. Give us a
No,
Randy
I'm good.
touchdown. Another
Yeah.
touchdown. Come on.
he's
You can say the one. You can say the one you're not allowed to say anymore. You can say here. You
Yeah.
won't get in trouble.
No,
Yeah, say
I never stopped saying it. You love every minute
I
of
know.
it,
I
Jess.
know. You didn't. Every time you say it, I laugh.
And that's another Mariner first down.
boy.
There it is.
What's it like
I love
being
it.
in a booth with this knucklehead, guys?
We got
What's it
headsets
like,
on,
guys?
so we can't hear.
Yeah, we're separated by time. and
Great
distance, so-
answer. Great
Great
answer.
answer.
Good
Best
answer.
answer I've ever heard. I love it. We got headphones.
No,
So
God.
that's why everybody wears the headphones. Coach Glodich
Yes.
wears them. You guys wear them, so you don't have to listen to Fred. Perfect. We can relate to that, actually, to be honest with you.
Hey, Zim,
Yeah.
through the years now, right? We've all been around the program a long time, and with your years, how much has the technology changed being up there and in the booth?
Oh, it's
Throughout
crazy.
the
'Cause,
years.
I mean, back in 1999, we had kids on the roof, kids on the track with big old cameras. Now they're automated cameras in little boxes. They can do replay if we get a good guy doing replay. So a whole lot better.
Wireless. We can go
Yeah.
down on
Well, I'll tell you
at the
what's
field.
changed in the last couple of years too is like, and it's exciting from the standpoint that like, if a parent, grandparent, friend, or whatever is in Iowa or Florida or wherever, they can watch the game online. No, it may not
Yes.
be live, but it's
Yes.
it's like you don't have to miss the game. So you
Yeah.
click on your screen, and if you're busy doing something, you stop it and you watch it later.
Yeah, that's one thing I liked about we had a little bit with COVID and that. And there was a few games where I just streamed it out of my barn and
Live. I
and
wish I
then-
could do that with all of them. Really, yeah.
and then I would type something in and say hey to Josh or hey guys, and then you guys would, hey, who's the farthest out of town? Who's watching the games?
yeah.
We got this person. It was really cool when that was going on.
Yeah, and the thing about that is that, I mean, MHSA's got their deal where they want to sell subscriptions to some of these services to get games. And
Sure.
I get it, but how many high schools are doing games? And are we really going to take away subscriptions from anything? It would be cool.
No.
Yeah.
Every time I've tried to buy a subscription, one of those, it doesn't work, you
Right.
know?
No, we've had a lot of,
$30
we had a
back
lot-
in 2 months, so.
we had a lot of fall through with trying to get some games on,
Right.
you know, and then, and they'd be on for a little bit and then the stream would cut out.
Yep.
So,
Well, I'll just tell you, as soon as playoffs, I mean, I get a packet of stuff. It's like the size of War and Peace. All these stupid ads that you got to read in between, timeouts and halves and all that stuff. And if the MHSAA is there and you don't do it, then they get all pissy and moany about it. It's like, well, sorry.
Yeah.
I said, well, give me something actually that's worth reading.
Yeah.
So, but guys, I know we've all had some experience, in the athletic programs at Marine City. So that's kind of cool too, with a lot of good memories. Zim, I mean, your whole family, I mean, from,
historical, man.
Scott,
Zimmerman.
Brian,
1972 all the
you-
way. Yeah.
I mean, Jesus, I mean, friggin' Brian was a beast.
He still
killed-
owns the record at the high school.
I know
Yes,
he
he
killed
does.
people. Yeah, he killed people with the kicker's flat top shoe. No, he would. I still remember my dad talking about him. Because my dad used to take me up to the coaches meetings and just saying, this guy will not only hit you, but he'll go find your family and go up in the stands and hit them too. I mean,
That
He's
was
an
in a
animal.
day.
He's an
That
animal.
was in a day that Mariner football just started to climb out of the basement, if you will.
yeah, out of the abyss.
Gary Warkentine took over, and I would say 73, and then 4, 5, 6, they got pretty good, and then from there it was off to the races as far as being really competitive. The funny thing about that is that you look at it for people that have been around a long time, they see that, and Jerry got it up and running. Jerry got it, flying high. It was doing well. Then I think Tim Carlson had a year, was there?
1 year.
1
Yep.
year.
Yeah, 1 year.
He carried it on. Then Bob came. Then
Bob
Bob
came.
came. And Bob instituted I'll call it a old-fashioned, old-style football, the basics. And if you key on these, and I'm making this up myself, I know nothing about the schemes of the way Bob taught blocking, but I think Bob's attention to the simplicity of make it easy for these guys and master it and to practice it and master it. And then it took off. You look at the mid 90s, we played Marysville and we would come within 7 points, 6 points, 3 points, 10 points. And you'd come home on Friday night pissed off because you go, they're not that good. They're a little better, but they're not that good. Well, then, the era of Bob coaching with like Joe Rivard and that group, that's the group that comes to my mind.
Yes.
When we got beat that season, the first game, came back in the playoffs and just annihilated them. And from there on, I think it was just a new stratosphere. And if you look at us playing our arch rivals of, say, St. Clair and Marysville, I think Marysville were like 17-3 or 18-3 the last 21. St. Clair, I think more like 22 of 25 or something like that. Pretty close.
Yeah. It's like almost like every 5 years,
Yeah.
St. Clair figure out a way to beat us.
And from there, it's just been a continuation. Now it's flipped because now the people from Marysville and St. Clair go home and say, they're not that good. They're just a little better, but we're a little better at about 6 things.
Yeah.
And
Right.
Like I interviewed Coach Bob, and it's nothing new. And everybody here, all you guys know this. Bob is the most humble man you'll ever meet.
Most
And
definitely.
because I said to Bob in my interview with him, I said, Bob, you got to know that your footprint, handprint is all over this thing today. And he
Yeah,
said,
and I saw that. And he's like, yeah, well,
I had a little part in it. And, and I get it, but
Right.
it's the amazing thing to me is you're now talking about how many years later. Bob's been gone, I want to say 15, 16 years. Something like that.
Unbelievable.
3
And-
words, boys.
And
3
it
words.
carries on. It carries on.
3 words. Fine, oiled machine.
Yeah. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
It's
A lot of
plain and
tradition.
simple. You know,
A lot of tradition.
you know, the thing is what they basically did, and like, you know, like Bob said, you know, and like Ron said that, you know, they practiced every day just to beat Marysville.
Yeah.
And to become Marysville, because they saw the philosophies that Marysville did, and then they ended up doing it a little bit better than Marysville, because, you know, the coaching staff stayed the same. The JV wasn't worried about how, you know, what their record was, the ninth grade, when they had a ninth grade team, excuse me. Any of those, you know, they didn't care what their records were. A lot of these other schools, you know, like, you know, some schools that, you know, that I've been affiliated with and know, they're more worried about record and not worried about developing, you know, for that next level. Because there's times where, you know, these teams were running a completely different offense, and they get to the varsity and they have to relearn everything again.
Well, if you look at
Marine City
Marysville,
doesn't do that.
Marysville versus Marine City for, say, the past, say, 40 years,
Mhm.
it's almost like you look at Marysville, their 20-year or whatever run that you want to call it was solid because they had 6, 7 coaches that were there the whole time.
Right.
Yep.
Then they had to split up when Walt got sick. Walt had a stroke, and then Jim Beam took over, and maybe 1 or 2 left. And then there's not the same continuity. Marine City had, now we got the continuity and we take over. But I'll say one thing too, though, that a lot of people sitting in the stands don't realize, and I've said it to him specifically, but there's a big thing at Marine City football right now, and the reason that we've carried on is because of Joe Fregetto and the JV.
No question.
Yes.
Joe has been there, God, again, I don't count the years, but 15, 20 years. And Joe gets his best players taken away every year to varsity, and he makes something out of JV, and he runs the same thing varsity runs, and he doesn't worry about himself or what he's doing. I'm sure he does somewhat.
Oh,
but
he does. He does.
Yeah.
Because I know, I've known Joe since he was coaching at Croslex with Kevin Mon. You know, he's a fiery type guy. But, you know, the thing is he is so dialed in down there. And like I said, when I did that game for you, when they played Grosse Pointe North last year, and Grosse Pointe North was not a small team.
Right.
And when I saw what he did with that group of guys, and then I saw some of the talent that's going to be up on the varsity, I got even more excited because we got them for at least 1, 2, sometimes 3 years.
The big thing with Joe what I mean by what I'm saying is that he doesn't have an ego that lets him get in the way. He's a company man that has told the line, and that's a big deal. That is a big deal.
Yeah.
Yep.
He
And the
does a
funny thing
fine
is,
job.
and when he does, he hardly throws the football. He runs and runs and runs. And the thing is that's how the Marine City offense goes. They run, and then they pull. You know, and the thing is the guys that are playing the offensive line, they're going to be the offensive linemen up on the varsity.
Yeah.
If you're going to be a halfback or a quarterback, you're either going to be playing those positions, or you're going to be playing, you know, a wide out, or you might not be on the offense side of the ball. You might slide over and play a corner or something. But that's the beauty of this team and the continuity they have on the lower levels as far as the upper levels as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
that's
like a huge, like they want to be huge on detail. Want to be detailed. Everything is finely, like you say, Fred, finely tuned machine. It's amazing.
Well, that's I mean, you think about it, JV, that's a critical time for you. Guys are really just learning about football. So you have to focus on the fundamentals, and you know, if they learn bad habits, it's not going to get easier to coach them going forward. So, you know, kudos to him, you know, for instilling that in the young kids, because they're learning from him really. So, you know, it is a program, but you know, you got to have a strong coach at that level so that they learn good habits and they can carry that forward. It's hard to undo bad habits, as anybody on this call knows, right? So
Oh boy.
Oh yeah, and I can tell you right now,
he's a great dude.
Yep. If Marine City is not a top 5 football program as far as the coaching staff is concerned, I would argue with anybody that there's not a finer coaching staff in the state of Michigan.
Yep.
Gotta agree there. Gotta agree.
And several games over the last, say, 20 years, 23 years I've been doing that if you look at it on paper, there is no way that Marine City has a chance, is what I'm saying. When you look at Country Day twice, and probably another team or two there, but Country Day, that was all in coaching and getting these kids to do this, do what they needed to do. I mean, we had no business competing with a team like that.
Well, hey, I'll tell you, John Liszczyk, he's my cousin. I'll tell you, and of course, you know him very well, Jesse, because you're married to Courtney. But I'll tell you right now, that kid played. He's 5'6", or whatever he is, and he played like he was 6'4", and he was going to Michigan next year.
Yep,
He
yep.
was in Jonas Gray's face all night long, and,
He was lights out.
barked at him,
Lights out.
all night long. That was
But
beautiful.
even in 13, they came to our place, and I think when they walked in their white on white jerseys, and they're running in and they're thinking, these country boys. I don't think they knew what was coming at them.
No.
No. Hey, Zim, if you were to pick one call or play you've seen, and I don't know, you can't say history since you've been there, but if something comes to mind, if someone says to you, one of the greatest plays you've seen, can you name one?
I could write it on a piece of paper. I bet you I could call it, but you go ahead. I already know.
Pete's catching the end zone.
No. That you say yours.
Well, there's so many that I don't know.
Exactly.
I got mine.
Give me a good one.
I would say, there's probably a couple plays from the game against Flint Powers. There's Zach Batchelor up in Grayling. There's about 10.
Yeah. Hard to narrow it down.
It's hard to narrow it down, boys.
If you want to tell me what you're thinking, I might agree.
Mine is the drive in Marysville 2 years ago.
Oh yeah.
With a freshman quarterback, probably the best drive I've ever seen a high school kid and a freshman to boot. And what a flipping great play to get into the end zone.
Whole drive.
And we had to talk him off the ledge, guys, because he was beside himself. It was Rob, Fred, and I standing on the sidelines. Fred is going off. He's about to jump off the cliff. And I said, hold on, there's still time. This happened a couple of times with Michigan games too. But, on that first play, when they gained that yardage to get down to the 30, it seemed like from the 20, something like that.
No question that drive would be the single biggest drive, I would say. Yeah, no doubt.
Clock management and play calling. And that was, that was just phenomenal.
Calm and collected. Yeah.
Was that the play you were thinking of, Jesse?
No. Unfortunately, I was on the sideline for the one, but I'm talking about and it wasn't I guess it was a small playoff game, not small, but not real deep in the season, but was the Wes Kammer catch from the backup quarterback down.
Against Allen Park.
Yeah.
1 second left, boys.
Yep.
1 second.
Oh, you got
That
a
was the one I was
starter
thinking of.
freshman quarterback.
Wes
right?
Kammer catches the
3-4.
football, but he can't catch a fly ball in the pre-district
From
game.
Greenford.
Bastard.
From Greenford.
Another game that really,
before.
there's another game that I can't say a single play, but gosh darn, the semifinal game that we played up in where it was Mount Pleasant, was it? Or where did we play that game?
Gaylord.
No, the week before. We played against
We played at Elma.
Elma. Cold Friday night. And that was, if we had not won the state championship, I think Elma was the second best team. I mean, they were as good as we were. They had a kid that went to Indiana as quarterback. That kid could throw on a laser.
Yeah.
But we just made like 3 plays more than they made.
Right.
So those are the good memories. What about one of the worst plays, like the play that just drives you nuts, the most frustrating play you've ever seen in the booth?
I wouldn't have say I could memorize can you?
No, I can't.
No.
I would say it was probably the game that eliminated us from the playoffs when we went 4-5 that year, because that game was winnable. And I can't remember which one, but 1 or 2 games, it's like we gave them away. You know, that would be mine. Not picking us 2 games that we gave away. One was a Grosse Point game that I think we lost by an extra point.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Down there.
Didn't he lose twice to them, like by 1 point 2 years in a row?
And they're a Class A school, and
a Homer
points.
group of referees too.
It is what it is. But that was probably that in the game, a game at East China just before that. I can't remember who it was, but
I can say the worst thing ever since I've been watching games is Ron getting ejected from the game against
I was
Elma.
going to say that. What
That-
the hell was
what a
that all
travesty!
about?
What a travesty! first of all, it was unwarranted. There was something behind that. So
It was a sad day.
it was
day.
a sad day
What's
because
next? Go to the next.
yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, so let's stop talking about this stuff, huh? Well, let's talk about this year. What are some of the games that you're looking forward to, and like what's the
Game
game on the
Yeah.
schedule?
Game one.
Yeah.
I'm excited for game one, different than I would normally be.
Yeah, yeah. We'll be home against Armada. Armada's in the
Ooh.
beatback class. They got about a similarly, they're a little bit bigger about than us. They got 581 students versus our 512 registered this year. So I think that is going to be,
And
it's
they
going
had a
to be
good,
exciting.
they
Open
had a
day.
good season last
Yeah,
year.
they sure did.
Instead of having a game one that is I'll call it a patsy that you win 45-12 or something.
Mhm.
I don't like those. I mean, yeah, you like to win, but I'd rather play against Armada's close by. They're going to bring some people.
Yeah.
They're going to be excited. They're going to be in their orange. We're going to be in our orange.
Yes, they are.
That ought to be a good game.
They're typically pretty tough. They play
Yeah.
well.
And they got a coach that I believe wasn't his father the coach at Oxford years ago. I
He
can't
might
remember.
have. I think so. I can't remember the coach's name, but Oxford's always had a good football
Yeah.
program.
Yeah. Then we go home. We go away to Clawson. Then week 3, St. Clair. So no more to say
It's
about
always a
that.
good one.
St. Clair's sort of like a Christmas, isn't it?
Some would say.
Who's home? Who's home on that one?
We're home second year in a row. I
Yeah.
don't know why, just of scheduling wise, but yeah, we're home again this year.
It's always nice. At least,
Again,
At
any
least
of
we-
us
at
are
least-
sad.
at least we won't have to hear, get your keys out. This is a key play, right, Fred?
Oh, that Fred
Remember
Shaw's
those
not
days?
there. Fred Shaw's.
Fred's retired.
Yeah. You don't have to
Get
help.
your keys out.
Then
No,
we go
Philly
to
boy up
South
in
Lake.
Bucks.
We go to South Lake.
Yeah,
Basically, we went there last year as well. Then we come home.
home against Marysville,
It's always a good one.
Ooh, it's gonna be a good one.
or away against
Nice, man.
Lampier. And then the week after that will be interesting, I think.
Clintondale.
Yeah,
Clintondale.
you know what? You're funny. It's
They're
funny
pretty
you
good.
say that because we've had some people on the show and we've had some people out in public that we've talked to that they're really not, I wouldn't say afraid, but they're really
Concerned.
intrigued by Clintondale. We don't know if Clintondale was senior Leighton last year.
I don't know. I mean, Clintondale's given us, they beat us twice in the last 20 years, given us a couple more games, but I don't worry about them any more than anybody else.
No,
I mean,
no, I
in general.
mean, a touch. It's nice that you see them, that's week 7. It's nice to see them in week 7 because you've had a chance to go through some other teams and refine. And even if they are, as decent as everybody's thinking they're gonna, I still, your confidence still in the Mariners, but it's nice to have that attention to detail and get focused on that game to come out and perform like you can.
And I'm
Yeah,
not here to
especially,
dog,
yeah,
I'm
it's
not here to
home.
dog any coaching scenarios, but I haven't
Yeah.
seen really Clintondale be as good lately as they did when Jim Scarcelli coached.
I agree with that.
Correct.
I mean, as far as solid 4 quarters.
Yeah.
And we're on the road 2 weeks in a row. Centerline, I always like that game for one reason.
Center line's tough.
I like going to Centerline because Centerline reminds me of my youth and watching the Oakland Raiders play at Oakland Alameda County Coliseum where the baseball field.
Oh yeah.
Fields at both ends of that stadium.
Unfortunately, the baseball field back then was probably nice and sandy. That time there's friggin' chunks of dirt that are you puncture a lung on it.
Yeah.
Cinder, you're picking cinders
Yeah.
out of your legs.
But that,
Yeah, no,
so, we'll go to Centerline. Then the final week is a wild card. Durand, who's been a pretty good team, I guess.
Yep.
But you don't
Durand's had a
Yeah.
very good run, not only in football but in wrestling. So
Right.
you know that those kind of go hand in hand with each other. And they're farm boys as well. So is that a way?
It'll be
Yeah.
a 2-hour
Okay.
ride. Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
And then, if we're able to have our normal Mariner season, we'd like to be home for 2 or 3 playoff games or more.
That'd be nice.
That would be
Pretty nice.
beautiful. Yeah, and that Clintondale game is also homecoming.
Yep.
So that's always homecoming is always a memorable game. So hey, guys,
Lampier, now
yeah.
Lampier, they were pretty good last year. Now, again, you don't know what they're bringing back, but
right.
um,
So you know, I don't think it's not like we're playing like, you know, the New Havens and you know, you know, down in that bronze division or whatever. But
I think
you
it's
know,
a
I mean,
solid.
it all depends because you know down there with the school of choice and you get a different coach in and and you say, hey, come play with me. Da, 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 da. You know, South Lake was good that one year. You
Yeah,
know,
we played him a couple times, didn't we?
yeah. So and you know they had all those guys coming from the you know the Detroit Public
Right.
League and you know and you know they had a decent year, but you know it doesn't last, and that goes to show you with what we have and what we're blessed with, you know, being able to watch that.
Yep.
So hey guys, so let's talk a little bit about this year. I want to, you know, that's one thing I haven't had a chance to. I'm sure you've kind of delved into it and dug around a little bit. What is what is your forecast for this year, and who are some players, young, veteran, whatever, that you really think could make an impact, or is somebody to watch out for that could really really bolster the team up?
Well, I think the first one that we didn't see much of last year due to injury is Brock Osterlund.
Yep.
I think that's going to be a real eye opener. You go back and you think about what ifs last year. I think we all performed very well, but you just didn't see him. So to put him in the mix this year, you know he's a big, strong kid. I'm not exactly sure what capacity they're going to use him in yet. Well, we can all speculate, but
I'd see him as a D lineman probably. I mean, I'm guessing.
so
I would imagine, wouldn't you maybe at a linebacker position?
Could be that too.
I'm thinking so.
You know, maybe take him for the Walker kid.
So he comes to mind right away. I think you're going to see some other players play some different positions than you saw last year, just through the grapevine. I won't put those out there right now, but we'll see. Craig and I are hoping to get a roster here this weekend, and we'll see who's listed as where before we do our CTV Channel 6 kickoff. So that's one thing that we talk about the coaching all as much as we do, but they always play to their advantage. So they don't go in with the same mindset every year that we're going to run up the gut. They always play to their personnel. If this is going to work better for their scheme, they'll do that. So I give them a lot of credit, man. They're very open-minded, and this isn't working, let's try this. So it's always interesting to see what they're going to do.
Yeah. So from what I watched, especially on the JV level and obviously throughout the playoffs, and some of the younger kids got to play. Couple kids that I think that could possibly be something that could help the team is the Paul Seacat and Cooper Letson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are two guys, and of course, and Brock too. I mean, Brock was missed in the backfield and he was missed defensively. I can only imagine what I'm sure he's just itching to get back out there and just destroy people. So that's a beautiful thing. So, that's one of those things where you're always wondering, what's next year going to be like? So, Craig, what is your observation? What we should be possibly going to see this year?
I mean, you can never make predictions because you never know the health and the welfare of the team from that standpoint of injuries. But this is a formidable competition, but I don't see any reason why we don't just carry on like we normally have, going to the playoffs 9-0, 8-1. That's sort of not that you predicted. I'm saying, but if it's like I always say at playoff time, people will make predictions where you think we got where we can get to Ford Field. It's almost like making grandma's special soup. There's so many ingredients going into it. Luck, preparation, competition, all these different things. But I don't see any reason for a let up this year at all.
Yeah. Well, that's good to hear. So, Mike, what we got? Anything else?
Well, I wanted to give them a chance to kind of give people an opportunity. Like you have a kickoff coming up for the season. Give people some details about that, and where they can go to watch some of the games and things like that you guys are broadcasting. So,
not to mention your preseason show.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, preseason show.
Oh, go ahead. You're the anchor.
Preseason show will probably tape it this next week. I just got to get a hold of Paul and get scheduled with him. We'll do that probably this week. It'll probably be shown probably Wednesday, Thursday, Friday before the season starts, I'm hoping. And then it's just Channel 6. You know, remember back in the old days, and I say old days, it's 10 years ago, when you had to get www.ct, you know, if you missed a
Yeah.
letter, you missed it, you couldn't find it.
Exactly.
Just
Yeah.
go CTV-6 St. Clair comes up, click on it.
Damn.
You'll go on there, go to sports, go to football game,
Host
click
of it.
it, watch it.
And they host all their stuff on YouTube, so
Yeah.
it's really easy to watch.
Yeah.
How quickly do they put them on? How quickly do they put the games on?
Usually up by midnight.
Yeah. Nope.
It's usually up by midnight. If it's not playing by midnight, it's usually up about the same time or maybe a little bit later than it's playing on the actual TV. So if you like any of us, you'll stay up till midnight and watch the game again on Channel 6 TV, or you can always watch it the next morning or whatever at your leisure on Channel 6. So, or I'm sorry, on the YouTube Channel 6 site.
Okay.
You can
great.
also catch in the zone there.
Yeah. I
Yes.
was gonna say,
Yeah.
tell everybody about that. Craig.
Paul wanted to do another show. It wasn't necessarily sports related, just he gave it the name In the Zone. I said, that's fine. He gave it some music. I said, that's fine. And I just like interviewing interesting people from the aspect of nothing more about learning about their lives and what they do and how they came to where they are today. It's mostly been teachers and coaches, but I've had some that weren't.
Yep. Paul
And
Sean.
as I say on there, my phone number is 586-707-5811. Call me with a recommendation of who to interview. Fred, I got your number, so.
No, my number's mine's 911. So.
So I mean,
Fred is filed
I
under
find it-
last resort on your cell phone. That's his contact name.
Damn, man, you're just killing me.
I find it interesting just because I do learn something from every interview. What I interviewed Dave Shields, talked to him about, you know, back in the day where he grew up, where he went to school. A lot of people like that. Just interesting people. Like to hear what they're all about. I interviewed Fred Shaw, and that was an interesting. I don't know if you saw that one. Fred came to me, and Fred had a resume. He had all the stuff listed. But the funny thing is, when I called Fred, he wasn't sure that. He's like, well, okay, and he knows me. I said, he says, I've been retired so long. And I said, well, Fred, he says, I got kids that are in their 40s and their 50s that I had. I said, Fred, I'm 59 and you had me.
Yeah.
We did Larry Rombach and Leonard Golding, and that was a good interview. Same thing.
God.
There's another name though. Okay, I don't think there's another human being that has coached in this area longer than Larry Rombach.
Yeah, true.
He's still
Oh,
coaching
man,
track
he's been
today,
around.
and he's effective.
He's been around a long time.
Yeah, done a really
Yeah.
good job. And
He's
what
a crazy man.
Oh, man.
what I get out of some of those interviews is that we all know Larry, and you call him Larry, and he tells you, call me Mr. Rombach, and he's a tough guy and all, but he was so nervous about the interview. He called me the night before, and I thought he was going to cancel on me. Says, I just want to know what you're going to ask us. So I went through it and told him. He was fine, but like he is another one of those salt of the earth people that people know as a teacher. Everybody here had him, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. How can you not respect that guy? Right.
Yeah, 100%.
And the fact that I think Larry's 75 and he's still coaching track, and he still is as effective as I think he was 30 years ago.
Larry
Yeah,
reminds
he
me
got-
of Sammy Hagar.
Yeah, he's
He's just-
great.
yeah.
man.
He's 75 and he looks
Yeah.
like he's like
Yeah.
50 something.
I guarantee you his body's in better shape than any one of us.
Oh, yeah.
And how that can be because he used to run the football and let us hit him
Without a helmet on.
without a helmet
No
on.
pads.
No pads, no
He lost
helmet.
a piece
Jesus.
or a tooth, I know for sure at one point. And he
No
said, hit me
pads.
harder next time.
Yeah. No pads, no
mean-
helmets.
But I
Unbelievable.
think to me, that is what makes this area such a great area to be in, is that if I run into you guys at the store, we all got stories and we all got common things, and people like Larry and Leonard and Coach Bob and all these people.
Yeah.
His dad was a mentor of mine.
Sure.
Every away game I'd be talking to his dad on the sidelines doing his thing. And I know I'm rambling on, but it's like all these things come up. It's like, Ron said one time, I think it was 13, he said, everybody just does this much. If everybody does this much, we're a better team, you know, and that's from the trainer to the water boys, to the guys doing stats, to everything. And that's sort of what it's all about. So, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
Jesse's
Wait,
just
one
gonna,
story about.
yeah, you just did all that rambling on. Jesse's gonna go, yeah.
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 Talk about Larry Rombach, right? Larry Rombach was very instrumental in me playing football at Marine City because I wasn't able to play because my dad didn't want me to play. You believe that?
Oh, yeah. And
So
Larry
we had
was,
to,
Unbelievable.
so we had to
Larry-
sedate his dad and lock
Yep.
him up in the
I
cellar.
I
And the
played
other
a full
thing is
year of
Larry-
football and my dad didn't even know.
Larry was part of the program with Jerry Warkentine and Bill Amiel that built it back in the 70s. You
Yeah.
know, so you know he's like Joe Fregetto in the sense that he's an unsung hero that maybe doesn't get all the publicity on a Friday night, but he's been part of it a long time. You know,
Yeah.
Sure.
and I
has.
think he still does shot put for boys and girls, maybe, and long jump. So and he's,
Yeah.
And
And one of his girls won the state championship this year.
yes.
yeah,
And every player in Marine City history, every football player could attest to this.
yeah.
Everyone found out or knew about his finger that used to stick in your chest.
And even
Right,
if you had
Jim?
pads on, you felt it hit your
Oh,
chest.
that nubby finger he had, that finger
Yeah.
he's got a numb. He just
The
stuck in
nu-
your, in
The
your chest.
nub.
Yes.
Oh man, and he'll laugh.
Larry
You call
can't
him that,
count to
he'll
10
laugh.
with
He
his
knows.
hands, but you know what?
You get the 9.5.
Yeah.
I know.
Well,
Kind of
well,
like my
some-
dad with his feet.
That was sometimes in the classroom too, not just on the football field.
You know, the funny thing is when I had Rombach for a teacher and he was a shop teacher. So
Oh, yeah.
everybody assumes, right, that he lost his finger in a table saw or whatever, but that
No,
wasn't.
No, motorcycle accident.
Yep.
Motorcycle chain.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, motorcycle chain.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, and I think we could do this show like this. I'm just using an example, once a month, and you could talk about another half dozen of people that we didn't talk about tonight.
oh,
Yeah.
there's
No
no question.
question.
There's
Yeah,
no
no
question.
No.
I mean, the list is long.
Yeah.
I mean, you could give an hour show and speak a half an hour about two people, and it would probably go over because remember this one, remember that? Oh, that just reminded me of this.
I got it. So when I was doing my interview with Larry Rombach, I lost in my mind the name of somebody. And I said to Larry, you know, the Sheik. Remember the Sheik?
Oh yeah, the Sheik.
Who was the Sheik?
Oh God, are you gonna put us on the spot,
Well,
huh?
Yeah, and I'm that way too. It's like, his face is right here in my mind. He taught with Larry and, Jack Westerhoff and,
Oh
Osterlund.
shit.
Oh,
Yeah. Tim's got it.
It wasn't Kovalchik, was it?
No, it was,
no.
Wasn't Dunker?
oh, he had the beard.
Oh
Oh,
gosh.
Prout? No,
No, it wasn't Prout.
No, it wasn't pro.
Mike Egan?
No, he lives up in St. Clair.
Oh,
Oh my God.
somebody will remember and post
Oh
in
my
the
God.
comments, hopefully, on the
He
episode.
lives in St. Clair.
Yeah. It's gonna come to me as soon as we end this.
yes, it will.
See, he was given an example of a name he forgot. and
Hey
he forgot
Siri,
it
who
again.
was named the Sheik at Marine City?
That is
Oh, my
classic.
God.
He set himself up. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Wasn't Larry Saunders?
Saunders, Mr. Saunders.
Oh yeah,
Mr.
Mr.
Saunders, that's who
Okay.
it was. The Chief.
Saunders. Good job, Fred. Yes.
Siri told you that or what?
It worked after all.
Yeah, I guess so.
Good job, Siri.
It was. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Mr. Saunders.
Oh,
Wow.
my-
Yeah.
Nice.
That's
hilarious.
some great stuff.
Yeah.
Great.
And
Well-
if you know, the funny thing is if you look at Mr. Sanders and you look at Bob Siskevich, they
Yeah.
kind of look like they could have been brothers.
Others, right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I call Bob, I even say it to his face, I said, he's the Pope of Marine City football.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's true.
Yes. For
But,
sure.
and when I say that, if he comes, he'll probably be at the Armada game. When he walks in, it'll be like, people will part and everybody will walk up and shake his hand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Celebrity.
God forbid, I mean, there was, I think one of the first years I was doing the announcing and I saw him, Scarcelli and Chet Wojcik. I announced that, hey, and on our sideline is Coach Bob Siskevich, and I could just see the look on his face, like, what the hell are you doing,
Yeah,
man?
right. You don't want,
Yeah,
you want some fly
Yeah.
below the radar,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah,
yeah, for no question.
learned that
no
lesson real quick. I said, yeah, I'm not gonna do that again.
question. You got the look. You
Yeah.
got the look. That
Yeah,
night.
yeah.
Well, that's what,
Yeah.
that's another thing. On Friday nights during games for the last 23 years, I would never look Bob in the eyes or even say hello to him in the tunnel or wherever. He was just the type that you go the other way.
Blinders.
Yep.
He's in his zone. I could talk to Tony up to friggin' kickoff. I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
Tony's like, he's,
Yeah. So last
different.
night, hey, last night, yeah, I was eating some food. My wife cooked it up. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I gotta go out and do this game.
Yeah. And then Ron, I wouldn't look at Ron either.
Ron was pretty
Oh,
intense.
hey, Ron,
Pretty
Ron, man.
intense. He's intense.
All you have to
Yeah.
do is watch the YouTube speech before they played Clintondale that one year.
Yeah.
And he just him and his robot dance against St. Clair. And
The best.
but the best is when Channel 7 interviewed him. Says, I got kids that playing their asses off it, and we have no transfer students. And I'm like, oh my God,
Kaboom.
Ron,
Did
bravo.
he ever tell you the one about we're playing St. Clair? I don't know. I think we scored down by the south end zone or something. I could be wrong in a couple little details, but we score on St. Clair, and there's a kid that was, I don't know, he was maybe suspended a game before for something. He yells, "Have a beer, have a beer."
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. He's got a memory, boy, that guy. Woo. That's
Yep.
funny.
Well, hey, boys, hey, it was great having you on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Oh, hey, it was a blast. Tim, thanks for filling in for Rob.
Thanks, Timmy.
And and
Anytime, guys.
I know.
Anytime.
Hey, and just as a reminder, we have the show on YouTube, and you can subscribe. You can get notifications that we put a new show on. You can watch past episodes. You can give us topics for any other future shows, kind of like Brock Hanley did, and he ended up being on the show.
If I
Thumbs up.
subscribe, will my friends know?
No.
Yes.
Well, your
We
only
keep-
friend sitting to the left of you.
About it.
Yeah. You're surrounded.
Yes. So, and as a reminder, we're on YouTube, or not on just YouTube, but we're on Facebook as well. The Idiot Circle. Throw some topics in there. Give us some comments about how the show is, good or bad. We're all good about it. But again, Craig, Jesse, always good to see you. I'll see you in the booth on the 26th. Tim, I'm sure I'll see you before that. And Mike, I know I'm going to see you relatively soon too. So
Yep.
you guys have a great night. Thanks for being on the show.
Keep
Sounds
America
good.
great.
Thanks,
you.
guys. Appreciate it.
Black.
Thanks, fellas.
Go
Thanks,
Black.
fellas. Go Black.